We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides.
And we're back with our special Liberty Nation panel, Tim Donner, Graham Joe Noble, and Scott DeCosenza. Earlier in the show, we talked about the problems that Joe Biden is likely to face. But now I want to shift to what Republicans can actually do with their, admittedly, razor-thin majority. Graham, I want to start with you on this. Recently, you wrote an article for LibertyNation.com detailing the possible incoming House Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, and his plans to oust Democrat committee leadership. So who is being sent the way of the dinosaur, the 8-track, and white leather shoes?
Well, McCarthy says that he singled out 3 Democrats in particular whom he would like to, or he said he's going to get rid of, is going to basically strip them of their committee positions. Representative Adam Schiff, California, and the McCarthy says that basically that Schiff has, lied, just so consistently to the American people that he doesn't deserve his position on his committee. And of course, what he's referring to mostly is that we all remember the Russia collusion business and the special counsel investigation into that. And of course, Schiff said over and over again that he had evidence. On one occasion, he said that his evidence was, I believe his exact words were, more than circumstantial.
Sorry to interrupt you on this, Graham.
Sure.
Didn't you think that there was something almost McCarthy-esque about that? With I have here a list of 215 communists that nobody ever got to see those lists, but it was used to bolster his particular political power.
Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, but anyway, so Schiff is, according to McCarthy, assuming he gets the Speaker's gavel, of course, then Schiff is out the door. And then there's Eric Swalwell, because
Fang fame.
And indeed, and that's exactly the reason why McCarthy has singled him out because of that, because Christine Fang, aka Fang, the at least suspected Chinese spy who actually fled the country when the FBI started taking an interest in her, but he had an association with her, and he's on the Intelligence Committee, House Intelligence Committee. So that's a bit. That seems a bit ironic, to say the least.
A little, right? I think McCarthy said something about if he can't get security clearance in the public sector,
exactly.
How on earth is he going to get one in?
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. And then the last one is Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, and she is on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and of course she has a history of saying very inflammatory things about Israel, while at the same time just seemingly refusing to recognize that Islamist terrorism even exists. And
some people did,
and certainly been an apologist for it.
Yeah.
So
she married her brother too, and lied about it for the immigration, right?
That is a story that hasn't, to my mind, ever been debunked, Scott. Have you seen it debunked?
The reason it hasn't been debunked is because elite media, big media, doesn't discuss it, doesn't investigate it, doesn't care. Well, they actually do care. They care not to cover it.
It does. There is a lot of clarity in that situation if you just look at as Alex Jones might say, look at the documents. Scott, tell me, what do you know about the Congressional Integrity Project?
The Congressional Integrity Project is a kind of, if you want to say, speak about them in a negative term, you'd say a shadow money group where, you can't determine where I think they're a 501c4. In the United States, it depends on your tax status, sort of how you have to report, or if you have to report, who funds you and what political activities or near political activities you might be able to engage in. This is the kind of group that doesn't have to report their who their funders are. And
what's their purpose? They're raising debt.
This occurs, by the way, on the right as well as the left, that people use the tax code to conceal their funders. And I think that generally speaking, even though I teed it up that way, we should celebrate anonymous speech as a key part of free speech. And they are actually they're a great and refreshing group, Mark, because they don't hide their intentions whatsoever. They say that they're committed to exposing the reality behind Republicans' politically motivated oversight and investigations targeting President Biden and the Democrats. And that's exactly what they're about, except that, for them, what that means is literally just attacking anyone who means to exercise oversight over President Biden or the Democrats. But they're not shy about it. They're going to attack anybody who says anything negative about Biden or sort of engages in investigations about Biden or his family by attacking those people and their family members and friends as well.
Tim, it seems to me that the GOP, battered and bruised over the last couple of years, will be using the House power to almost reestablish themselves. But will that be a reestablishment back to the party it was in 2019, 2018, let's say before the pandemic? And how do you think that will play with the fast-growing group of independent voters out there who ordinarily would not classify themselves as Republicans?
Well, I think it's pretty clear that Trumpism is going to not only survive, but thrive through the 2024 election. Trump himself, we're not so sure, because, of course, there's going to be others who challenge him, which is something that used to be unthinkable. The permission concept, people who wouldn't say a word against Trump for years now suddenly are emboldened, like Chris Christie, the ultimate politician who hated Trump, then he loved him, now he hates him. So there's politics for you.
Sorry, quick interruption there. Chris Christie and Charlie Crist. There's a similarity, right?
Where does one end and the other begin? Yeah. This is going to be all posturing during these next 2 years with a divided government. I think what you're going to get, the best thing that the Republicans can do is follow through on their promise to repeal the 87,000 new IRS agents, because number one, they'll look heroic. Number two, they'll force Democrats to vote against lowering the bar on the IRS. In other words, the Democrats will be forced to vote in favor of having more IRS agents. That's the kind of posturing that'll happen. Chuck Schumer did that, for example, after the Supreme Court decision, Dobbs. He forced a vote on abortion because he wanted Republicans to go on record as opposing it. So there'll be a lot of that kind of posturing, I think, in this upcoming 2 years, which is all going to be really just setting up for 2024.
Just a very quick.
We will lead the world. I agree with you there.
Oh yeah, the politicians do posturing well. One final yes or no answer on this round table. Do you think that Joe Biden and the Democrats will ramp up the anti-MAGA rhetoric and include the representatives in the House with them if they don't go along with Joe Biden agenda? A quick round table, yes or no?
Is it even possible for them not to? On the other hand, can there be any rhetoric more extreme than Joe Biden calling MAGA Republicans, which presumably means that 74 million people have voted for Trump, calling them violent extremists and a threat to the future of the republic? I don't know that you can go any more scorched earth than that, except to include the others.
I don't think
Republicans in it.
To quote the song, I don't think you've seen anything yet. Now you're listening to Liberty Nation Radio.
Yes from me, by the way. For the
that's a yes from you, and Graham.
My answer to your question involves imagery of a bear doing something in the woods.
Absolutely, with a pack of toilet paper with him. Now, you're listening to Liberty Nation Radio here on the Radio America Network. After this short break, we'll be back with our special panel on what Democrats are doing to prepare for a season in the wilderness. Don't touch that dial. We dismiss history at our peril.
Liberty Nation Radio with Mark Angelides. Entertaining, informative, and just plain fun. Watch Liberty Nation's The Conservative Five. produced by conservatives for conservatives. C5's The Left Free Zone, hosted by Liberty Nation's Lisa K. Donner, joined by a raucous, irreverent panel of authors, deconstructing leftist narratives, debating the hot topics, and remembering to laugh. Join the official conservative safe
You only
space.
did that to piss Jeff off.
Liberty Nation's The Conservative 5.